Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the greatest wrestling podcast ever. I am your host, Adani, and joined with me, as always, are the greatest co-hosts ever, Manosk and Bodacious. How's everybody doing tonight?
All right, let's do that one more time with a little more like, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages.
Welcome to the
greatest wrestling podcast.
There you go. Ever.
All right. It was
and
a
then
good
you got the
wrestling.
greatest of the hosts over here, 5-0, Bodacious.
Again, that's an asterisk because it was Extreme Rules after all. But
It was a horror show. Remember, it was a horror
it was
show.
a horror show. Although, after watching SmackDown tonight, I am not expecting too much better from SummerSlam.
Right?
Hey,
It's another themed show.
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all both watched SmackDown tonight, right?
Oh, yeah.
So is it two separate women title matches, or is it a unification match where the person who wins is going to be the women's champion?
That's an excellent question. I don't know that they verified that, but I'm pretty sure it was just it was two 1v1 matches. Maybe maybe they will reference it on Raw or something, but my understanding, and it's a spoiler alert.
Here's the thing. We're 1 week away. Yeah. We're 1 week away.
Well, as last week we did include SmackDown in our last week's SmackDown. So this week we started with Raw. So let's work our way through and get to SmackDown. So that way we can talk more about. There was a lot of things that were interesting, and I actually have some questions when we get there. So, but I wanted to save them.
One thing I found interesting. Remember last week I said I enjoyed Raw more than NXT last week. Well, NXT was like the only show I did not like this week. I liked Raw, SmackDown, and Dynamite, but NXT was kind of for me this week, and that's kind of scary with 1 week away from their big takeover.
Yeah. I pretty much agree with that. I thought there was not there. Obviously they're still working towards some stuff, and but other than that, it felt pretty lackluster as well. But let's actually start with some.
They're working towards some things.
Yeah, they're working towards some things. That's about all I could say for that. But let's start with I got a newsworthy topic before we get into Raw. What do y'all think about the news that these four indie wrestlings are going to NXT? I'm not NXT, but the WWE Network: Evolve, Progress, ICW, and WXW. What do y'all think about that?
I'm excited for the catalog of matches that you get to see that you maybe would have had to have searched online to get to. So maybe it's a little bit easier to see some matches from Aleister Black. Maybe it's a little easier to find some matches from Drew McIntyre after he got fired from WWE the first time and then came back. If you didn't get to see him in Impact, there's matches around that. There actually are some pretty good matches within the stuff that they're putting on here. There's even some guys that aren't even in WWE that are having matches on these cards that you're going to get to see. There's even some Eddie Kingston matches within these cards, so that's pretty interesting.
Me, it doesn't really apply to me because I don't have the time to go back and watch all the side stuff. All my time that I have for wrestling are eaten up by watching 3 WWE produced shows, like 2 AEW produced shows. I'm trying to work in New Japan. I'm also trying to squeeze in Impact. So it's like too much.
Yeah, it's a lot for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. But I think it's exciting that obviously getting a new additional catalogs of wrestlers for those people who have those individual favorite wrestlers, being able to watch more of them and really see where they had you know, time to groom and become the superstars that they are today. I think that that's definitely a good thing. So let's get into Raw.
Actually, one more question before you go into that.
Yeah.
Because of all the other side companies, non-WWE, that's available now, do you think WWE should now start separating TakeOver and their main pay-per-views instead of having them on the same weekend back-to-back? Like, you know, where you have TakeOver on Saturday, SummerSlam that Sunday. Like, for you as a fan, is that too much, or you like that?
Well, I'll say that as a fan, I think it's too much, but that's only because I also watch AEW. Right. If I didn't watch AEW, it wouldn't be as big of a problem. But I think the main thing about it is, logistically, for WWE, it makes the most sense. Like, regardless of whether it helps us as fans, we're going to watch regardless. But they save a lot of money if they don't have them on separate weekends.
Actually, I think that's the issue, is they still think people will watch regardless. Like, look at how the ratings have been. That hasn't been the case because people have actually started putting their foot down and decided, you know what, I'm not going to watch regardless. I'm just going to look at something else. And that's what's been happening lately across all their shows.
Yeah. It's just a differing mentality, you know. If they see people aren't going to watch because there's too much wrestling, then they'll course correct. They always have. That's why they've been in the business longer than any other, you know, wrestling promotion.
I would like to see them stick to the back-to-back concept on, like, WrestleMania weekends.
Yeah, something like that. WrestleMania weekend. I agree.
Unless they're going to do the 2-day WrestleMania again, which I feel like would help fans, because having to sit in one place watching 10 hours of wrestling continuous is difficult to do. And that's what WrestleMania's become the past couple of years. So if they did like a takeover on, well, no, because then you're still the Hall of Fame.
Still a lot of time, because like say like if they're going to have WrestleMania in Tampa, and I want to go to my first WrestleMania in Tampa. When they have a split like that, then I got to know a year ahead of time which night's going to be the night that I'm going to want to be there. I'd hate to get night one, they find out the Rock's coming back. He's only wrestling night 2, but that's sold out. So
Yep.
I as a fan would be pissed.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, maybe keep it the one night, even if it's 10 hours. That's like one time a year you're going to sit there for 10 hours.
Yeah, but back on the point, I do like the idea of having some takeovers having their own weekend.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think they used to have some of them like that.
Well, it was.
I want to say that the weekend that they had a long time ago, when they still had Sasha and Charlotte and all of them still in NXT. I want to say it was like Bayley versus Sasha or something. And that was on a weekend by itself. It wasn't like with another pay-per-view.
I think what you're thinking of are the NXTs that were overseas, the England ones. Those were never on the same weekends as the pay-per-views, but they've been pretty religious about having the takeovers with the Big Four, the Royal Rumble, the WrestleMania, the SummerSlam, and the Survivor Series.
Well, I gotta be honest with you. That particular weekend, I don't remember watching the WWE pay-per-view, but I remember watching Bayley versus Sasha.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. If for some reason they did the NXT takeover like UK or whatever, they did some of those. I think they were off, but it's possible that maybe they did takeover a different weekend and then the UK takeover during the weekend of the pay-per-view. That could have been a factor. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't think NXT needs to be on the same weekend, but I think, like I said, logistically, I think it saves them a lot of money to do it on the same weekend, and since they're not getting
and I think they should move it to Sundays, because if they're saying NXT's main roster is like Raw and SmackDown, then maybe it's time to move TakeOver to Sunday with his own pay-per-views.
Yeah, I mean, that would be good.
I like it on Saturday.
But if you did Sunday, that would basically make more, Sunday. You have your pay-per-views once a month. Sometimes you have 2 pay-per-views a month. If you had an NXT also, then you would have 3 pay-per-views a month. And then if you had AEW also, then you'd have 4 pay-per-views a month. So it just if every Sunday you have now occupied.
No, because AEW is only 4 a year. They only do like the seasonal. They have their big 4. They're sticking with just that big 4. And then NXT is kind of the same, I think. I don't know what their schedule is. It's not monthly, is it?
Yeah, I feel like you're on the point with that, to where they have these big episodes of Dynamite, and those are probably like every quarter, and then you get your big events.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I know
No,
I will not be laying. I don't lay any donuts.
Oh no! You just showed my kryptonite.
All right. Well,
Monday Night Raw.
So Monday Night Raw kicked off with a double.
Monday Night Raw.
Kicked off with a double contract signing. Dominic finally signed his WWE contract, and officially, we'll put officially in the quotations because I'm sure he was signed before then, but officially signed his WWE contract, and also signed for a match against Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. What do y'all think about this? I believe they made it a no DQ match. Is that? I can't.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't assured of that, but it sure made it sound like it. So what do y'all think about that?
I'm gonna be honest. When the show opened up and Seth Rollins' music hit, I was actually ready to change the channel and watch something else. I haven't been a fan of the eye storyline, but the segment ended up being pretty good and ended really well. It was a great opener for the show. So,
yeah,
congrats to them.
I thought the segment. Go ahead.
I am excited for where it could go because I like Dominic and I like their family. He's definitely got some skills, but he's definitely also pretty rough and more cold than diamond at this point. But Seth Rollins is Seth Rollins, and he can shine you up real nice. So I'm expecting a good match, but for some reason I get this weird feeling that something odd's going to happen and somebody's going to turn, and is Dominic going to join the cult? Let's find out.
Let me ask you this. Who do you think is going to have the better first official match? Dominic or Pat McAfee?
I think Pat McAfee.
Dominic.
I think the opposite. Yeah. But
I think Dominic's going to have a better first match.
You also got to think of who their opponent is.
Yeah.
Who is a better ring general, Adam Cole or Seth Rollins? That's going to be what I'm going to be looking forward to next weekend.
Now, I want to.
They're very similar.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Well, we'll get into that a different time.
In my opinion, one's better than the other, but
yeah. Well, we can have a discussion on that in the future because it's not like they're going anywhere.
As he goes 5 and yeah,
I eat donuts in the middle of the show because the other column stays at 0.
So I wanted to mention, I think the Dominic Seth Rollins situation is I want to ask you all's opinion. Do you think it'll be? First of all, I'm curious who you think would win, but because I think Seth's gonna win. Seth is gonna win, but I'm curious to see if y'all think it's gonna be like a Stone Cold Bret Hart type match.
You want to know what? I really think Dominic's going to somehow end up winning it. Because the only reason they're pushing this, well, if you heard about the behind the scenes stuff, is because his father signed a good deal, and then deal includes him, and the fact that Ray had lost the eye versus eye match against Seth, it just seems time for the good guys to get a win. Dominic's opening match, and Ray's probably gonna make his big return and help Dominic get over. Although I agree they might do a swerve of some type, but I still think Dominic's gonna come out winning it.
Okay. What you think, Bodacious?
Go ahead. And
What? I already went.
go. You already went.
Yeah, I said I said that I think Seth Rollins is gonna win, but I'm curious to think if y'all think that it'll be like a Stone Cold Bret Hart type deal, or if you think Dominic's gonna win. Like, I think it's gonna be that. I think it'll be Seth Rollins.
That was a lead in. So
Yeah.
sorry about that.
Yeah. So what do you think?
Yeah. I think that it's not gonna be a Stone Cold Bret Hart type of thing for sure. I think it's good. If you want a analogy of what I think it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be more Kurt Angle and Shane McMahon. I think it's gonna be like a torture type of thing, where he's just welcome to the big leagues, kid.
Yeah, that's why it's a
No disqualification?
non-disqualification match. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we're allowed to say him on the internet at all, but Chris Benoit, Kevin Sullivan, WCW, look it up. Like, they had some crazy matches. I think this is going to be along those type of things.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. All right. We'll definitely, keep an eye on that for sure. All right. So, next thing I have on here is the segment with the Street Profits and the Andrade and Angel Garza. You had in that segment you had Andrade versus Dawkins, and Dawkins came out on top on that match. All right, so then we had Selena Vega versus Bianca Belair. And in those two matches, both of the Street Profits group won. What do y'all think about that?
As I texted y'all earlier the week after it happened, that in my opinion that was bad booking. They should have just booked it as a intergender match, tag team match of Dawkins and the EST versus Vega and whichever one of the other underlings, because both good guys got to win. Like, what's so threatening about the other team now?
Exactly, I completely agree. I think if they were going to keep it separate matches, they definitely. I felt like Dawkins should have lost to Andrade. I mean, Andrade was like 2 weeks ago, he was like the golden child. I mean, not literally, but yeah, like. And now all of a sudden he's losing to half of a tag team?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like, at all.
Yep.
I mean, it seems like they're building towards the match that you just said they should have had in place of it, but it should be the opposite of that.
Agreed.
Yeah. Who's in charge around there, man?
Yeah.
Like,
That actually...
Mr. Bull into a six-man.
That actually... that particular thing is actually going to... I wanted to mention that in the future we have a project in the back, in the background we're working on called hashtag Perfect Booking, and we're gonna take a person, a wrestler who, middles the pack, mid-carder, somebody we think deserves, to be pushed to the main event, and we're gonna give our input as to how he's gonna get there. That'll be a show coming up soon that we're working on now. So that's definitely something like this would be where we would, make sure that stuff like that doesn't happen.
the greatest booking ever.
Or you can call it logical booking.
Name's still in the works.
The greatest booking.
All right, so the next thing we had on the Raw ticket, and again, I don't go over everything. I go over just the things that carry along storylines related to titles or things that I find extra interesting. So the next thing I got notated here is the Bayley versus Asuka. If Asuka wins, she faces Sasha Banks at SummerSlam for the Raw Women's Championship. So what y'all think about that?
Is Charlotte coming back? And it just dawned on me that like her thing that was wrong with her wasn't supposed to take that long, and I just get the feeling after having watched all of what I watched tonight, and we have the questions of the match and what type of match and who all's involved, and we know the people involved, but I just get the feeling that Charlotte's going to get involved in this, and it's going to be a 4-way the next week.
I don't know, because there's been talk that she got signed to some TV series of some sort, so she might be out a little longer. We don't need her back because we have the lovely Sasha.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think we need her. I'm just saying, like, I was just like, well, there's 3 people involved in, I think 2 matches, maybe 1 match. For 2 titles, and
yeah,
it's kind of confusing at the moment.
It was illogical booking because Shayna should be involved in one of the matches. But...
Well, that's actually what I was about to say. Is that really there's 4 women that are clearly carrying the women's torch right now, and that's the 3 we've discussed plus Shayna Baszler, and
on the main roster.
Right, on the main roster, of course. Now, Asuka did win this match, so she is going to SummerSlam to face Sasha for the Raw Women's Championship. And we'll notate that there's more to that when we get to SmackDown. The next thing I want to discuss is Raw Underground. And Raw Underground this week, it looks like after now we've had 2 weeks, it looks like this is going to be clearly last week we discussed, we had the no ropes, kind of more grit wrestling, more MMA style, and they introduced some new stars. They played on that this week, and they introduced 2 more stars, and also kind of pumped up 1 star we already know. So the 2 stars that got their introduction in Raw Underground was Arturo Ruas and Riddick Moss. So what do y'all think about that?
Wasn't Moss already on Raw like months ago? Or
this is kind of like it was kind of like a repackaging, I think, that they decided.
Yeah,
to.
see, I feel like we've already seen both of them also. So that's why I was like, I mean, it was cool. I mean, I was entertained. Mm-hmm. I wish they would have stuck with that darker tint they had that first week. I wasn't really feeling the brighter look they had this week, but the whole segment was pretty good. I was wondering during the Shayna Baszler portion of it, did that blonde-haired chick like go into business for herself against Shayna and like really piss her off, or
so actually,
you know what it's reminded me of?
Yeah.
It's reminded me of the first 2 hours of Raw is WCW, and the last hour of Raw is brought to you by the NWO.
Yeah, that's what I was getting.
And then you get Retribution coming in with their NWO style takeover.
Yeah. I mean,
that's why I was kind of hoping the Underground was leading to the new faction. But
well, there were some, let's see, like you mentioned to Shayna, I do want to bring some light to that. The 3 people that she defeated are actually they're actually super. They're people who have MMA background. Like they're not as well developed as Shayna is. Not a mainstream MMAer, but they actually were brought in as like light MMA people. That's why you saw that blonde-haired chick kind of keeping her own, because that's actually, that's actually their profession and whatnot. So that's why, that's something that, and they did say that there's probably, Shayna's looking at a probably pretty big push from this specifically.
I would like to see, even though I don't think they're going to give her the time of day with the booking properly, I would love to see a match with Baszler versus, what's her name that's hanging out with Miz and Morrison right now? She used to be Fire and Desire.
Oh, Sonya Deville.
Yeah.
Sonya Deville, yeah, I'd love to see that match. Mm-hmm. I feel like that could be a match, but I guess that's for a different program.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
All right. So we touched on Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler was the third person that they highlighted on Underground, and she definitely showed off. The last segment of the night was Randy Orton versus KO. He proceeded to win that match, and then Ric Flair and him had a pretty significant moment, and then that led to Ric Flair getting his head kicked off. What do y'all think about that?
I enjoyed the segment. I mean, I actually had a tear drop from my eye as Ric Flair was doing his promo. Like, oh man,
it was so good. Like the 71-year-old man still got it.
Yeah, he does.
He doesn't have it in the body, but he's still got it in the mouth and the words. And
yeah.
I mean, one thing I feel bad about Ric Flair is he could touch himself in the forehead and he's going to bleed, but the words are there.
That was 30 years ago. You could do that.
This is true. If I had to pause, but there's a good angle that they got on that punt, and yeah, they did a good job, and I'm glad that it wasn't in front of a large crowd.
Exactly, I completely agree. I thought Ric Flair made that. It was so good, man. When he said, "I'm just a fan of Randy Orton," I was like, "Oh man, gosh."
Ric Flair has made a lot of people in the last 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, I know people that don't really know much about wrestling, but they know Jay Lethal because he wooed with Ric Flair.
Yeah, even non-wrestling fans all know who Ric Flair is. They know, woo! And Hulk Hogan and The Rock. But I was surprised someone recognized, I was wearing a Roman Reigns shirt the other day, and someone doesn't even watch wrestling. Who's that? Oh, Roman Reigns. I know him. I was like, wow. I didn't think he was as mainstream as he is.
Shoot, wrestling.
That movie with The Rock, right?
The Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah.
And but it's crazy, I always joke to my wife. I said wrestling, wrestling is universally loved. If you can wear a wrestling shirt, you can be anywhere. Somebody's gonna be like, "Hey man, you watch wrestling? That's awesome, man! I love your shirt." They're gonna do that 100% of the time. I was
especially if it's an older wrestler. I get that with the Hardy Boy. I used to watch wrestling all the time. I love the Hardy Boys.
Yeah. Yeah, I was wearing all my wrestling shirts when I went down to Universal, and at least 2 to 3 times a day I had people be like, "Yeah, man, I love wrestling. Your shirt's awesome." I'm like, people I've never met in a completely different state, still just they feel comfortable enough to just come up to me and start talking to me because of wrestling, and that's goes back to why we do this show. We love wrestling, and we want that that you all out there in cyberspace to love it just as much as we do, if not more. So,
and we of course know that they love the bling. Papano.
People are going to start hating you.
He only has one more week.
Dude, I went full heel last week, bro. Like, where were you?
That O is about to disappear. I'm just saying. And not only is the O going to disappear, but his spot for number one.
If the O doesn't disappear, the ring is getting a lot bigger. I'm just saying.
It's going to disappear.
All right. Well,
let's break through these other shows.
Yeah, that brings me to
5
the
hours
close of
later.
Raw. That brings me to the close of Raw. Y'all have anything else y'all want to talk about with Raw?
Nope.
All right. So next we go to NXT. So NXT, there was not a whole lot of news that I took notes down. As we talked about before, it wasn't the best NXT show. But the first, we'll at least discuss the first couple, the segments that did have, that did have merit. So just let's start with the first segment, which was Keith Lee and dang it, what's his name again?
This Cross. It really was. The Phantom Fireball.
Yeah,
from out of nowhere.
Yeah, Karrion Kross and with the contract with the Fireball.
Yeah.
So what did y'all think about that?
I've never been a fan of Fireball.
Yeah, if you're gonna do a Fireball, have it come from a person's hand. Like that was spy versus spy stuff.
like I could tell how thick it was. I was like, there's something in there. And he opens it up, and of course it catches fire. I was like, yep, that makes sense. I was like,
and then, I'm a tough man. I got burnt in the face. Don't help me. Don't give me anything to cool off my face with. I'm gonna be a tough man. Like, come on.
Say, I'll go to the doctor. I'll go to the hospital myself and do my skin grafts. Get away from me. It's like,
that sounds like some me stuff.
I'll rip the skin off my ass and put it on my face.
Hand. Oh man, yeah. Let me just have burns all over my face.
So
if he doesn't come to wrestling next week with a mask on,
he's not there. He's not, because they already showed his face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. I mean, clearly we don't agree with that choice.
And they did that a week before the pay-per-view. They should have done that a while ago. Unless they're going to cancel that match and put it off to like free TV or the next takeover or something.
They need to have him selling whatever like skin cream he uses.
But again, a week before your pay-per-view?
Let me ask you this. Do you think that supernatural vibe is for NXT?
That's what I was kind of getting to. It seems like the writers that weren't working, like whose ideas weren't working very well for Raw and SmackDown, they kicked them off and sent them to NXT. And all of a sudden, Raw and SmackDown got more entertaining. NXT leaves you with question marks like, huh?
Well, I just think... Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I think that it used to be that NXT was the island of misfit toys, but then now they've taken all of the misfit toys and now they're left with the junk.
Yeah.
And then what I wanted to say earlier about NXT is, yes, they normally have stocked shelves, but right now they can't get everybody in to be practicing like they normally would. So it is what it is. They have to use what they got. Mm-hmm. They don't have like all the guys that they normally would. Most of them have been called up or are getting called up because Raw and SmackDown don't have all the guys that they normally would either. Mm-hmm. They're stretched thin with the guys that they have that are actually showing up to work.
Yep. Yep. I'm gonna mention this, and then we'll move on to the next thing. I don't believe NXT should have supernatural stuff. I think it's just should be pure, wrestling type and entertainment. I think that they're appealing to this supernatural mentality because they're on mainstream television now, and I think NXT, as it's supposed to be, kind of the performance center type, indie style. I think the performance the budget, so to speak, needs to be based bones. I think it would best be suited as a bare bones product, as opposed to trying to make the production value higher.
I think the reason why is because, yes, NXT has always been known as the pro wrestling show, whereas the main product was the sports entertainment show.
Yeah.
But with the ratings are the way they are, they probably figure sports entertainment is more entertaining than pro wrestlers for the majority of fans. The pro wrestling going for the hardcore fans, and they could appeal to just the hardcore fans when I was online, but now that they got to worry about the network, keeping network and sponsors happy, that's why they're going that more sports entertainment route.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
They've always had a mix of that, though, right? Because Bray Wyatt and them started off with the Wyatt family gimmick down there. So I think it just depends on which performer. Finn Balor started doing his demon stuff in Japan, but like he brought it over as his main like shtick.
Yeah, but
to NXT.
That's different though. Like that's not just because your character's supernatural doesn't mean you do supernatural things.
He just means they didn't do the actual like powers and stuff
like the lightning, like the Undertaker lightning, with the lightning. Exactly. Yeah.
The Kane with his flames.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You can have that supernatural gimmick, but your character still, it's all about the wrestling. It's not about the supernatural. And that's what I was getting at. So let's quickly finish up with NXT. All right, so NXT. The next note I have here is the last triple threat match to determine who is going to be in the U.S. The North American Championship ladder match at TakeOver 30. Like I said, right now we currently have Damian Priest and Bronson Reed. In that match, the three wrestlers in the match for NXT were Cameron Grimes, Kushida, and the return of Velveteen Dream. What'd y'all think of that match?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. All right.
Like I said, I didn't care for this week's NXT. Okay. So
I mean, that's fine. We don't have to say. So Cameron Grimes won that match, joining Damian Priest and Bronson Reed. Kushida was the one pinned, which means Velveteen Dream will move on to next week to face. He's going to face Finn Balor for the fourth and fifth slots. It'll be Finn Balor versus the Velveteen Dream, and Ridge Holland versus Johnny Gargano for those fourth and fifth spots. In this match, Velveteen Dream did not lose the match. He was not the one pinned. And after the fact, he attacked Kushida, signifying a heel turn for Velveteen Dream. What do y'all think about that?
I think that signifies that his feud is with Kushida,
yeah.
And so I think he's going to lose next week because I think Balor's going to win the title.
Okay. All right.
Early prediction.
Yeah, well, that's actually going to bring us to two of the predictions that I have. Obviously, next week we will have the finalization of that match, but I do want to go ahead and get our predictions for the matches we
currently do that at the end. We gotta knock out AEW.
No, let's. It's 4 matches. I just want to get y'all's quick.
You're not doing TakeOver and SummerSlam.
Well, if we end up doing it Saturday, then TakeOver will be on a different show. So I want to go ahead and give us our just have these in case. If the worst comes to worst, we do it the other way and we're good. But otherwise, I'd rather have them on the books and good to go. So first of all, let's get it's Keith Lee versus Karrion Kross for the NXT Championship.
Keith Lee.
Keith Lee. I'm saying Keith Lee. Bodacious.
Bask in his glory.
All right, Keith Lee. Yeah, there's no way that we all agree. No way Keith Lee loses his championship. All right, Dakota Kai versus Io Shirai for the women's championship.
Should have kept the North American title.
All right, so wait.
Io Shirai.
Io Shirai for Stefan. I'm also saying Io Shirai. Bodacious.
Yeah, that's gonna be a three-peat on me, but
All right.
yeah, something happened with the sound there for me.
Oh. Is everything? Can you hear everything okay now? Testing. Everything.
Yeah, it just went from
All right.
the
Okay.
first match, and then like I didn't hear anything, and then it was fast forwarded to I didn't hear anything else.
Oh, okay. All right. The last match that we have a definitive, participants is Adam Cole versus Pat McAfee. What you think?
Adam Cole.
Okay. Bodacious. Is he?
Yeah, he froze up the leg.
It's his smile right now is so silly that where it froze.
You know what? His smile tells Pat McAfee. Let's just say he said Pat McAfee.
All right, he's back. What do you think,
What's
Bodacious?
going on?
Nothing. We voted for you. It's okay.
Yeah, but-
I can't see you guys. I can hear you, but I can't see you.
well, all you need to do is hear us.
Okay, so I didn't hear anything about this. Let's go.
Pat McAfee
One more time.
versus Adam Cole. Pat McAfee versus Adam Cole.
Oh boy. What did you guys have to say about this?
Okay, here's my take on it. I think Adam Cole's going to win it, but if they decide to break up Undisputed Era and have a turn on Adam Cole, that's the only way I can see Pat McAfee winning.
That thought just crossed my mind, which is why I wanted to shut up for a second and see if anybody else was there. But yeah, I think Adam Cole wins.
Okay.
Unless they're turned on. He's turned on.
All
But
right.
I don't know if I can have that type of an asterisk like in my
I don't
column.
think they
No, you
tease
can't.
that
You can't have that asterisk. You can say who wins the match. That's all you can say. Mr. 5-0 over here.
Adam Cole, baby.
All right. So the last match essentially has 7 participants. If the participant you choose is not in the match, I'll get your choice after that. So, like I said, I think we're in agreement that Johnny Gargano and Finn Balor will probably be the additional 2 added to the 5-man match. So who do y'all think wins? Grimes, Priest, Reed, Balor, or Gargano?
Balor.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I already made that pick earlier, so I'm
Alright.
gonna go with it. But
Okay.
I wouldn't put him past him to put it on like the least likely. But Balor.
I'm actually going to say Priest. I think Priest is going to win it. So I'm going to go.
Oh, somebody's trying to.
One of the reasons I say Balor is because they're trying to improve their ratings, and Balor's the main person from that group that they figured throwing it on them.
Well, the problem I have with
Yeah,
it is that he didn't win his initial
agree.
match. So if he didn't win the initial match, I don't know if this last thing is just something they threw together or not, or if it's actually storyline. So I'm anticipating that.
But if you listen to the news, it's not like everything's only thrown together, so
Yeah.
they changed their mind last minute. New age.
Yeah.
So
All right. So Next, we'll just.
This is what WWE does. They make the plan, and then they throw the plan at the wall, and the plan breaks, and then they spit on the plan and throw it in the trash can and make a new plan, crumble it up, and burn it.
And
That's
then they throw that one on top of the other one, and then go reach in to get the other plan that they started with. So essentially burning their hand to get the plan that they threw away to begin with. Anyway, let's go ahead and finish up with WWE. We'll go ahead and finish up with SmackDown. That was tonight. It started with Big E and Morrison trying to have a match, and they get attacked by the Retribution. After that attack by Retribution, they had a big locker room grouping where Big E gave a big speech, and Morrison mentioned Big E's tweets toward the Retribution, saying that he instigated them, and then Sheamus kind of put Big E down. What did y'all think about that segment? Chain segment there.
Interesting.
I did not. Go ahead.
It was different for Retribution. I mean, at least they're not just throwing rocks at windows and throwing cocktails at generators. They're actually engaging with the talent, finally.
I appreciated the full episode arc within the storyline there. From beginning to the end of SmackDown. It was a nice full arc there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They don't really do that too much anymore.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Not since the days of Teddy Long, making them six-man tag matches.
Yeah. Tag match, player.
Yeah, so I didn't see any of the Big E
or
tweets.
WCW with a Judy Bagwell and a pole match.
Yeah.
Or a forklift.
Jesus. Did anybody happen to see any of the Big E tweets? I did not. I'm only taken by what they said on the. So now,
the only person in WWE who I follow on Twitter or Instagram or anything is Sasha.
what do y'all think about a Big E versus Sheamus feud?
Okay, look, Sheamus is good.
Okay.
And Big E's good. But there's some wrestlers that you don't put that seems like something they seem like two wrestlers you don't put together unless it's for a title match in a bigger program. Like right now in the mid card,
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
Because they both have a strong, like a slower strongman style. That's something that's probably better for a big stage, and not something for a non-audience show.
Right. Okay. Makes sense.
Like I would be more entertained to see Big E versus, like y'all were saying last week, AJ Styles or something.
Yeah.
Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
Or,
so, yeah. All right. Well,
Did you follow that?
Big E versus Jeff Hardy is what he said.
Dolph Ziggler.
What about Dolph Ziggler?
Yeah, I know he's on a different show.
I was like, I
would like to see Big E versus
Dolph
Ziggler.
Interesting is seeing Big E on Raw Underground.
Yeah, that would be good for sure. So he's definitely got the make for it. Absolutely. All right. So we all, I personally think the Big E Sheamus feud is a good way to get Big E, one step closer to that mid card title, or even into the.
Okay, here's the. Is it a feud between Big E and Sheamus, or is it Sheamus and King Corbin?
No. It's definitely going to be a feud between Sheamus and Big E.
Because they've been teasing is Sheamus and King Corbin.
No, that's
after that stuff with him and
no
the G and stuff.
the stuff with Corbin and Matt Riddle is still going on. So it's definitely not. It's definitely going to be Big E versus Sheamus.
I think that stuff was just to progress Corbin's character and Big E's character, not like a feud between them, just to make their character stronger in those situations.
Anything else? Like, I actually want to see Sheamus versus King Corbin feud kick off. They could both still be a heel.
Yeah. So let's make our way to the next segment that I have here, and that's going to be the women's tri-brand battle royale to face Bayley at SummerSlam for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And we'll skip all of the nonsense that happened at the beginning of the match and go straight to the final two.
Nonsense. That's the segment that had Sasha. Did you see what she was wearing?
I did, in fact, see what she was wearing.
That was the best part of the show. Let's get the best part of the show.
Well, we don't do pictures on here due to copyright, so we're not going to do that. But we'll skip to the final two. We had
$5 fight on.
We had Asuka, who was a surprise entrant into the match, and Shayna Baszler. How do you? We've already touched on this a little bit, but how do y'all feel about the final resolution there?
I feel the wrong person won. I think that should have been Asuka. I don't think Asuka should have been in that battle. She's already in a title match, and the winner of that should have been Shayna Baszler. And I think Dana Brooke got a little too much offense on Shayna Baszler if they're over trying to toughen Shayna back up.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that somehow come next week Shayna Baszler tries to make a claim for it and we end up in a triple threat match? Or a fatal four-way to unify the titles? I mean, do you think that's something that comes out of it?
A week before the pay-per-view, I hope not.
Right.
The matches should have already been finalized last week for this upcoming pay-per-view. Nothing else, at least this week, and then for the go-home shows, they can, promote it better. Versus, we're still finding out what matches are going to be.
We only have like 3 matches finalized right now.
Whoever comes out on top is going to be able to say after SummerSlam, they're going to brag about it on Raw or SmackDown or both. And then I think Baszler is going to come out and be the challenger for the next week if they're not going to do a repeat.
That makes
match.
sense.
Oh, you beat everybody, right? Well, you didn't beat me.
Yeah, that's fair. So it could be.
It makes sense, so they're probably not going to do it, right?
You could see Asuka versus Shayna Baszler for both the SmackDown and Raw Women's Championships, and then maybe if Bayley costs Sasha the belt and vice versa, maybe they have the match at Payback.
So you are thinking they might pull the trigger of Asuka 2 belts?
I absolutely think that they absolutely should because I feel like what they did to Asuka was pretty crappy anyway. Like, I mean, if they don't put a belt,
You know what has me scared about Sasha? She has never had a successful attempt at defending her title when she gets it. When it comes to a pay-per-view,
right? That's a good little tidbit of knowledge there.
Yeah, she's like the reverse Charlotte.
Charlotte always wins and Sasha never wins.
Yeah.
I mean, Sasha wins the belt on Raw and SmackDown, but on the big events, Sasha's like Eobard Thawne, and Charlotte is good old Barry Allen. Say that?
Sure. Yeah, you can say whatever you want. It's just we can't use.
This is a Marvel cast over here.
Yeah, you can't. Oh, you talking about my hat? I like Spider-Man.
Can't say those two things in the.
All right, are you ready?
I'm like talking about the opposite company. While
Ready to jump to the end? Because there's a question I have about the ending for y'all.
We got one more thing before. So Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, they're having a hair versus hair match. How do you feel about the hair versus hair gimmick?
I don't really care.
Yeah, I didn't think so. All right.
I think it's predictable because I have a good feeling I know what's going to happen.
The next thing that I have is AJ Styles promo. So I have a question. This brings me to the question. Was that Abyss?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I was like...
He even had the same character name, Joseph.
That's why he said to make sure you knew it was him.
Right when I saw that, I was like, wow, if you can't have that match with The Undertaker, boy, it would be awesome if I could see Abyss as Abyss in a WWE ring. Boy.
Well, I mean, Joseph Parks is his name, though.
Yeah. But also, Impact lets people have their gimmicks now, so...
So, yeah, in that segment, the Abyss displayed the phenomenal Intercontinental Statistical System, which ended up just being AJ Styles' name. And Jeff Hardy came out and to challenge AJ Styles, and that match was made official. And next week on SmackDown, we will get AJ Styles versus Jeff Hardy for the Intercontinental Championship. Again, mind you that the week of SummerSlam...
That was the piss system.
That was the piss system, yes.
A week before SummerSlam, sorry.
Let's say, note this, is that we get the Intercontinental match on the SmackDown, which is 2 days before SummerSlam, instead of getting it at SummerSlam. Like, what?
Mini rating.
Like, I get it, but I hate it. Like, this is a feud that you could have go on for weeks to months, and you essentially...
Yeah, you know how many weeks it's going to be? It's going to be 3 weeks in a row. On a Friday, on a Sunday, and then the following Sunday.
But what about the following Friday?
Gimmick.
They're going to wrap a 3-month feud into 2 weeks.
Yep.
2.5, yeah.
I don't like it. I want to.
I mean, they have a history.
Yeah, but the history
they've got a history.
WWE doesn't recognize their history. So
they have a history.
It's like, I'm excited for this feud. I hope they make it a long feud and not just, next week.
And they kind of acknowledged it, really, because AJ was like, people want to see us get into the WWE ring.
Not me, but yeah. I want to see them get in the ring like at a big pay-per-view when the crowds are back, but it's not yeah.
Makes sense. I get you. All right, what did after that we had the Braun and Fiend segment.
No, didn't we have the Big E versus Morrison match?
Yeah, I guess we did. So, yeah. It was the Big E versus Morrison match.
They started with it.
They were teasing Retribution was going to come out.
Yeah, that's right. And then the whole roster circled the ring, and then Retribution went backstage and destroyed everything.
Only thing I did not like about that is it took away from the match itself. So it was like you're not even paying attention to the match. You're over watching, seeing if Retribution is about to interfere, come out or something.
Mm-hmm.
They keep jumping back to the backstage and all the other stuff. There's like, I'm like, this is probably a good match, but like the focus is not on it, so I don't really give a care for it at this point.
And that's why I was bringing up WCW earlier, because it just reminded me of WCW whenever the NWO, they're beating up Rey Mysterio and throwing him into a trailer in the back. I don't care what Scott Steiner's doing in the ring, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I thought it was a good segment. The Big E won with his new submission finisher, the one with it. He pulls the leg behind his neck. Good for Big E. I think this is so far going well for him. And then didn't Sheamus take his head off at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, the lights went out.
Yeah. So I'm pretty, like I said,
and it, kind of went out.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was the Retribution attack, the second Retribution attack of the night. This one did not have actual wrestlers. It was just damage and backstage and officials.
And in my opinion, I think they did that backward. They should have had the one backstage official at the beginning of the show, and then have them actually attacking the wrestlers for the end of the show. That would be a great way to close the show, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it would have been a better way to close the show than they did. Even though that the final segment, it was something I thought was good. It's just it
left questions.
Yeah. So the final segment. Let me notate this real fast since we're getting to the end of WWE. They did mention that Shawn Michaels will be on Raw this coming week. So that's a little bit news there. And then again we get to the final segment, which was the Fiend, Braun Strowman, and Alexa Bliss. And Alexa questioned Braun from the week before and how he basically said he didn't care about her, and then things took a kind of the whole segment was real weird, but I thought it was good. It was just real weird. What did y'all think?
It left me a question like, who's the bad guy? Like, who's the heel? Is it Braun or Bray Wyatt? Because Bray's over here saving Alexa Bliss, who at this point is still innocent to all of it. Mm-hmm. Braun is about to throw a innocent woman who did nothing to him. And unless she turns into Sister Abigail at the end of this, I might be done with them.
Yeah, I don't get it. Braun's getting some bad advice and some bad booking, and yeah.
I feel like this is leading to.
It could have been Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. I feel like this is leading to Braun losing the championship because I think they're souring people on his character on purpose, because that's sure what it seems like to me. Like they're actively trying to do what is that? They do a double turn. Is that what the terminology?
And Braun has power.
Yeah, I feel like Braun's getting the Ryback treatment, and the only reason that he ever got a championship was because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think, like I said, I mean, I thought the segment was good. It feels real weird because just like what Manas said, it seems like the it's like they're doing a double turn, and if that's the case, then the Fiend in my eyes doesn't really work as a good guy. Like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Right.
So
that's why I was like, the only way to save this is for her to be working with him all along, and she's really Sister Abigail, or Sister Abigail lost her way and bring her back or something.
Yep. So Yeah, so that brings us to the end of WWE. Is there any other comments that y'all have on any of the WWE programming?
None.
All right.
I'm ready to be done with it.
Okay, we're done with it. And just there you go. So next we go to AEW. And AEW, I did not. So Stefan, why don't you tell us about any of the YouTube programs that took place this week?
The women's tag team matches weren't as good as last week, but they were still very entertaining. I'm trying to remember who participated. What's his name? Chloe Blanchard. Not Blanchard. Ellering.
Silver. Yeah.
Yeah. His daughter competed along with Dasha, who's a ring announcer, and she participated in the Rock's Titan games. So that was her big AEW in-ring debut. Apparently, she also used to be on NXT before she was injured, so it was her first official match since that injury. That was the highlight of the tag team. As for Dark, did I finish? I don't know if I finished Dark. It's been a long week of wrestling. I don't even remember, to be honest with you.
We can move on to Dynamite if you're ready.
Did watch it, but I don't remember anything from it.
Okay.
Huh? We can still go right to Dynamite.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you don't recall anything noteworthy, that's really what it's about. Is if it's, we don't need to discuss every single match that happens. Really, we try to focus on what's noteworthy and give us, we talk about that little bit of stuff, and then if there's a specific topic we want to expand on, we do go on our.
I think the biggest thing from the tag match, like I said, was Dasha's debut and Elrig's daughter's debut in AEW, but she actually performed then and the next night on Dark.
Oh, sounds good. All right. So AEW Dynamite this week, this Wednesday was Tag Team Appreciation Night. So we had a good chunk of tag team matches, including a tag team championship match. But my notes here, I have this was actually the no, okay. So the opening match I had as the TNT Championship. Is that correct?
No.
Was it? Oh, it was a tag match. That's right. It was a tag match between that didn't really mean a whole lot. It was with the Dark Order and something like that, right?
No, it was the Inner Circle. What's their tag team name?
Pride and Proud.
Yeah, weren't they the?
No, I think it was Young Bucks.
Young Bucks, and I think it was the Dark Order.
What?
Yeah, it was the Young Bucks versus the Dark Order.
No.
Yeah. So
that was.
Like, I heard he's like.
There was a lot of wrestling.
Yeah. So I didn't notate that. I didn't find it as noteworthy. Do y'all want to discuss that?
To me, anytime any of the elite are in a match, it's essentially a championship match in AEW, but they're all up and down the program. EVP.
That's true. Yeah, the Young Bucks are definitely one of the highlights of AEW for sure. All right.
The next segment was MJS address to Moxley.
Yep, I got that here.
I thought it was a good segment to help hype up.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, because it was the first time Moxley came from the back rather than through the crowd.
Yeah,
And then that ironic because now they have people in the crowd.
And then it was the Cody versus Scorpio Sky for the TNT Championship.
I got that next.
I felt swerved by the end because I just felt like if they were gonna bring out a new belt, I thought for sure Scorpio Sky was gonna win that thing. But
what is your opinion of the belt? I actually like it. I think the belt was really nice as gold. I didn't think I was gonna like it as gold.
I thought it was interesting that it's gold for one, and that they're calling it a world championship. Because they kept talking about how this was Scorpio Sky's first world championship match. And I was like, world championship
Yeah, I think they
match?
probably slip of the tongue when they say world championship.
It's pretty, yeah, I agree with that. It's probably just a slip of the tongue.
I was like, boy, they're really bringing the prestige on this mid-card
It's
championship.
almost carrying the weight of world championship the way they've just been treated, though.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
I'll give you that.
He defends it. They defend it more often. It has, because, like, you know, obviously Moxley, you know, doesn't. It seems like Cody is the face of, you know, obviously Cody's the face of the company. So even though it's not technically the world championship, because he already is the face of the company, it feels as big as the world championship. And that's really that's
the way your secondary title should.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say, for sure.
I mean, to me, AJ Styles is trying to make the IC title what Cody is making the TNT
and honestly,
title.
That's also the kind of push they need to start making with the women's title, because the women's title is not defended enough, and the women's champion is not featured enough to really get that title over as well.
Well, that's partly because the women's wrestlers in AEW are they need more. They need more.
Well, their best ones are still trapped overseas and can't get over the United States.
Yeah.
That, and I don't think they're using the same producers for their women's matches that they are the men's matches in AEW. They need to figure something out with the producers.
Well, I know Kenny Omega is in charge of the women's division. That's why I figured he's probably also one of the producers for it.
I don't know that it's working.
Yeah.
They might need to get some more.
Well, Dustin Rhodes is also helping out with the women.
And that'll probably help, because I heard that he used to do some stuff with the women back in the day when they first started getting this women's revolution started over in WWE, so that'd be good.
Finley.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, is I think Finley's back in WWE, though.
He shouldn't have after getting canned, I wouldn't go back. After getting canned at the beginning of the pandemic. But yeah.
Makes sense. So at the end of that match, Cody came away with the win, but Brody Lee came up on the Titantron and challenged Cody at All Out for the TNT Championship. Do you think that's where he finally drops it?
I've been thinking about that, and I think so, because, you know, everyone was expecting, they figured if anybody was going to take the championship from him, it might be Scorpio Sky. You know, people kind of written off Brody Lee, and I can see Brody Lee, him being the heel, and him having all of Dark Order to somehow steal the win and get the championship. I mean, All Out is pretty much All Out's their WrestleMania.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the original plan was to build MJF to take the title off of him, but they did such a good job of building MJF that he's going for the big belt instead. You know, I mean, from last year to this year, when MJF turned on Cody around this time last year, it just made perfect sense. But now he's going for the big belt. So, yeah, if somebody's going to take it from him, I don't see why it can't be Mr. Brody Lee.
In Arizona.
All right. So, the next thing on AEW I have here is the Tag Team Championship match between it's Paige and Omega versus Jurassic Express. So what did y'all think of that match?
I like the continued slow burn to the cleanup, the heel, Kenny Omega. That's mainly what that match was about.
I wanted to see Jurassic Express.
I also like the jokes from. Yeah, I like the jokes about the. It's been 5 million years and I haven't gotten a chance. I'm finally getting a championship match.
Yeah, 65. It took 65 million years for a dinosaur to get a championship match. Perfect.
Look, Ma. I can appreciate that.
Perfect. I'm a big fan of Luchasaurus for sure. Oh, Luchasaurus. We did have.
I'm also.
Okay.
I think I mentioned this recently, but
Yeah.
he was on Big Brother.
Yes.
Like that I found that very interesting.
Mm-hmm. And NXT.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
heck, there was an AEW match a couple weeks ago that literally happened in NXT 3 years ago.
I heard about that actually. Yep. It's pretty crazy. I mean, but we live in uncertain times right now, so it's really weird about, obviously when things go back to normal, WWE is going to need to fill out their roster. How they do that, I don't know. So we'll just have to wait and see. We also had a promo from Matt Hardy discussing the incident with the chair. He said he's now not cleared for a couple weeks to return to wrestling. At 13 stitches or something along those
10 days.
10 days. Yeah. So that is the update.
And the 10 days up next Saturday.
Yeah. So that is the update on Matt.
Yeah, they're definitely making Pringles out of that.
What was that?
You might not know what I mean by that, but Pringles were an accident. They weren't originally supposed to be chips.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah. And this accident, or this chair thing, was not supposed to go the way that it was. It was supposed to be a gimmick chair. So, yeah, they're turning poop into salad.
All right. Well, I don't know that I like that that analogy, but I don't like poop in my salad. But all right, let's move on.
I'm just saying, you've never heard that saying? Turning chicken shit into chicken salad?
That specific saying, no.
No.
Go listen to the Stone Cold podcast. Just like there.
It's like, I've heard the analogy, you can shine out poop, but it's still poop.
So you're like Sammy Guevara with the tongue, okay? You got the inner circle over here with us, ladies and gentlemen. That's what they do, is they stick their tongues out.
I already told you, I'm a lizard person. Stop. Like,
Kobe and Michael Jordan over here with the tongue. Dropping threes over here. What's up?
Oh, man. All right. So the last match of the night, excuse me, was Orange Cassidy versus Chris Jericho, the $7,000 obligation. What did y'all think about that match?
I thought it was a good, entertaining match, other than Chris Jericho's botch at the end.
Yeah, that was a little silly.
It was Jericho's fault, but yeah. He was supposed to roll forward, not backwards. And so Jericho was already going backwards before Orange could give him the momentum to throw him forward. But in that, it did look a little awkward. At the same time, it worked, and to me, it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
It wasn't as good as their last match, but it's still good.
Yeah, I that's kind of what I was going to say myself, is that the match didn't feel as obviously the importance also, the importance of a rematch, you kind of want it was hyped up, and then it fell a little bit flat, so to speak, compared to the first match, and you kind of want that second match to be even better, and then the third match to be, knock your socks off type, if they have a third match.
Well, it made me realize that there's for sure going to be a really great third match.
All out.
And you don't want to overshadow that with the first two great matches.
Right.
So you let this one fall slightly short so that the next one's like, oh my god. You get the result you want out of the last match, I think. Cassidy's got to win. And you're going to get the heck of a match. Because now you're going, well, that last match wasn't that great. Well, then this one's going to blow your freaking socks off.
Now they got to go all out.
Do you think we get a gimmick out of it?
All out.
Do you think we get a gimmick match, like a cage match or a no DQ match? Or do you think it's just going to be straight up?
I don't know.
Because, I mean, if it goes as far... I mean, obviously...
I could go either way. I could see it being a gimmick match, but I could also see it being a... You know, you can't beat me in a straight match kind of a thing.
Yeah. Well, I think I mean...
Maybe straight up...
I think a cage match could be really good, but you know, we'll just. I mean, I'm always a fan of feuds ending in cage matches, so you know, if this is.
Well, I mean, Jericho's a man of 1,000 submissions, or 100 submissions, whatever many it was. I can see him.
1,004.
I can see him like challenging to a submission match.
Well, that was supposed to be a.
And I want to say headlock and a hammerlock were on there. Armbar.
Or Iron Man match.
There you go. Could be an Iron Man match, or or a best two out of three falls match.
Yeah.
It's that's a possibility too, which is basically almost always a one fall match. It just has two falls that don't matter at the beginning. All right. Anything else on AEW?
Just remember, it's next 2 weeks. It's not on Wednesday night. Yep. Next week's on Saturday, and that following week on Thursday, and that following week, all out.
Right. Our recording schedule may be changed for the next couple weeks because of how crazy the wrestling schedule is. We'll update y'all on our Twitter. Obviously, we won't be able to reach you in any other way. We'll try and update on the Facebook page as well if you follow us there. That will bring us to the kudos of the week. So, who do you give your kudos of the week to? Let's start with Bodacious.
I am going to give my kudos of the week to Big E. I believe this is the second time in a couple of weeks that Big E's gotten kudos on this show, but he deserves it. It's his time, and yeah.
And my kudos of the week is also a repeat of Orange Cassidy. I mean, he scored the main event. He was a no-name, now he's a household name. Kudos to that.
Yeah, definitely. My kudos are going to go to the one of the guys that was on Raw Underground, Arturo Ruas, and his performance on Raw Underground with that roundhouse kick, I was quite impressed. I was like, I liked it, and it gave me shades of Chuck Norris there with a roundhouse.
And actually, I
Is
take
that
my
like a
kudos
preview
back.
of your answer? Is that a preview of your answer for the next question?
I actually take my kudos back, actually.
Okay.
Not Orange Cassidy. He did good, but kudos of the week
You
actually
can't be an
goes...
Indian giver of your kudos?
No, because I remembered... Oh, wait, I forgot. Dasha Gonzalez. Dasha, her debut match, and that people have been talking about it all week ever since her match. She actually gets kudos of the week.
Well, good stuff. So what were you saying, Bodacious?
What?
What were you saying about...
What was I saying?
he thought it was going to lead into your question for next week.
Yeah, because you said Chuck Norris. You don't remember when Chuck Norris was on a In Your House pay-per-view, or was it SummerSlam?
No, I don't remember
With Shawn Michaels?
No.
Oh, yeah. He was super kicking everybody in the $1 million stable.
All right, so kudos. Congrats to all of the wrestlers that won kudos this week.
Right off the set of the Walker, Texas Ranger.
And so that'll bring us to the question of the week. Last week the question was, what was your favorite surprise guest on a wrestling program? Let's start with the person who posed that question, with Bodacious.
Oh man, I don't get to go last. All right, that's cool.
What a surprise guest! Those special guests.
I'm gonna go with Lawrence Taylor. His special appearance was at a Royal Rumble, which led into a match at WrestleMania against Bam Bam Bigelow, and he had a heck of a first match. Because I think earlier we were talking about somebody that might have a heck of a first match. Well, Lawrence Taylor had a heck of a first match, and obviously Bam Bam Bigelow pulled that match out of him. Bam Bam Bigelow to the Hall of Fame. Let's make that happen. Just saying. Yeah, I mean,
Hall of
it was good in
Bam.
ECW, WCW, and WWE or WWF at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Lawrence Taylor.
All right.
Probably my all-time favorite would be the one people still talk about today, which has been the biggest program they've had, when they had Jay Leno and Dennis Rodman as guest stars on WCW, which led to that big match.
Karl Malone was in that match, right?
Wait.
Yeah,
Karl Malone. Karl Malone was in one, and then I think it was like the following summer they did Jay Leno. That wasn't the same match.
Yeah, it was a different one. Karl Malone was assisting Diamond Dallas Page against Dennis Rodman and Hulk Hogan, but then eventually, was Jay Leno before or after? I don't know, but I just remember I started taking notice with the Jay Leno match.
Yeah, because I want to say the first one was Karl Malone, and then afterwards is when they had the where they took over the Tonight Show.
That was some good stuff.
Mine is actually one that's actually much more recent than y'all's, and mine's actually Ronda Rousey. Appearance at WrestleMania, because before obviously all the Ronda
San
Rousey,
Francisco?
yeah before,
when she got in the ring with The Rock,
before all the Ronda Rousey
when she
drama,
had the Vegeta shirt,
exactly,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was an extremely awesome moment. Before all the stuff the stuff went down after she left WWE, but going back before that, that moment was awesome, and it was a great, it was the Stephanie up in the Rock's face, and then all of a sudden you have this MMA champion, obviously not at the time, but former MMA champion, just getting up in Stephanie and just putting her down, and that was awesome, because that was a time where the Authority was really the main bad guys, and so it made for a real special moment, and that's my favorite special guest moment on a wrestling program. So we didn't have any comments again this time around, but we definitely look forward to reading any of those on this coming week's question of the week. And since Bodacious posed the one last week, do you have one this week, Manosk?
It's your turn this week.
All right.
It's your turn this week.
Well, fine.
Mine next week.
I mean, whatever. I said if I got one too. I like letting y'all have that option.
Good job.
So mine was actually. I actually was thinking this. I wanted to use this one for last week, but since Bodacious had one, last week or this week that we're in right now, and AEW had Tag Team Appreciation Week. So I want to know what your favorite tag team is of all times. Mine's really easy, but
Oh man, that's hard to do though.
What about your top 5 favorite tag team of all time?
If you want to do,
Oh,
top
that's
five,
easier to
top
do,
five.
but to lock it down to one.
It's easy for me, but
One is hard to do.
But we could do top 10. We have top 5. We can do top 5 favorite.
You know what?
tag teams.
You know what? Off the top of my head, I can name one, but like, there are other guys that deserve to be spoken of when you talk about tag team wrestling, but they're not necessarily my favorite because I have a kind of tag team wrestling that I like.
Right. So we'll do 5. We'll do 5. We'll do top 5 favorite tag teams.
Oh, 5, kind of like my win streak. 5-0.
One more week.
Yeah, and then I go to 9-0. The only person that called a different match to me would be Adoni. I haven't seen Karma's, but everything else is the same.
SummerSlam prediction.
Karma is also 4-1. The only one she
Yeah, but what Karma said for this next one.
Takeover, I haven't gotten hers yet.
That's what I'm saying. But everything else, we all had the same except for one match.
Right. Oh yeah.
So
this is true.
You would be the only person that could, unless like all of us just. I'm 5-4 next week. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's not
true.
gonna happen.
Yeah. All right. So
I mean, stranger things have happened.
Okay. Well, does anybody have any other input, any other thing they want to discuss before we close out the show?
No, thank you.
All right. Well, this has been Donnie, Manosk, and Bodacious. And this will be the end of our show tonight. Please follow us on Adani's Gamerspace at Facebook or on Twitter at The Greatest WRU1. There's also a Greatest Wrestling Podcast Ever Facebook page. This guy, I swear to God. Leave a like on the page.
If the streak continues, you have no idea how big this ring is gonna get.
Jesus. Leave a like on the video if you like the video. Subscribe if you want to see when we post new videos. We try to post at least by Friday night, Saturday every week. Yeah. So thank you all for watching, and.
If I lose one of my matches, I will egg myself on the show next week. Why not, bro? If you want to see it, I will egg myself on the show if I lose.
If you lose and we get 10 likes on one of our videos, we get 10 likes on one of our videos, and you lose a match.
He'll do what?
Then he'll egg himself.
I'll egg myself.
He'll egg himself.
Egg himself?
Yeah, egg. Yeah.
He'll egg himself. So if we get 10 likes and he loses a match,
I am that confident in my picks.
Then he'll egg himself. So y'all.
How about if he just loses a match?
Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Let's get this thing cooking.
Yeah, we gotta get.
Might be having some giveaways soon.
That'd be awesome. So, like I said, thank you all so much for watching, and this has been the Greatest Wrestling Podcast Ever. We will see y'all next time.
All right, later.